So it's Back to the Future Day. And it's lunchtime networking hour on the Home Workers Network. Something we're playing around with a little bit, nothing too serious, just to, if anybody's at home at lunchtime and wants to do a bit of networking over Blab, that's what this is about. And I just tried a title, Back to the Future Day. And look who we've got here, Dan Adams. Just explain what you're wearing and why you're wearing it, Dan.
Well, in Back to the Future, the second film that they did in 1989, they reckon that the fashion would be on October the 21st, 2015, that people would be wearing two ties.
And they got it right.
And they obviously have.
Absolutely hilarious. I saw your picture on Facebook earlier on this morning, and I wondered what that was all about. I must have forgotten that about... Back to the Future because I've watched all of them. In fact, we watched them with Vizzy, my daughter, a couple of weeks ago, and she absolutely loved them. Still relevant even today. And what's in it? We were just saying, I don't know if you were listening, Dan, just sort of some Back to the Future retro things that you might remember from, let's say, I don't know, the 80s. When was the first Back to the Future movie come out? It had to have been 85. So in 1985, what would have been a relic of your working from home? And I said fax machine, and you and I didn't believe anyone would still have one, but you have, haven't you?
I still. It's not plugged in, I have to admit, but it is still here. And it was.
When was the last time you used it?
Probably 2 years ago, maybe even less.
Mate, listen, there's a tip on the Wilton Road in Camberley. I think you just need to drop it off there, fella. Definitely.
Don't blame me. It was down to like huge suppliers, car rental suppliers in America, and they used to require that I used to fax them a manifest every night of who was collecting the following day.
Flipping dinosaurs, if you ask me.
Exactly.
Now, Maury, you're in Australia, aren't you, fella?
Yep, that's right.
Which kind of proves the true international flavour of the Home Workers Network. What can you remember from 1985? An office relic, let's say.
Well, office relic, the old inkjet printer.
Really?
No,
Matrix, was it not?
Yeah, it was one of the first first inkjets, and we had three of the tape printers.
That's it. I remember those with the ribbon butterfly.
Golf
ball typewriters, Matrix golf ball Matrix typewriters. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Also, the computers in our office were all dumb terminals with the main central computer in the center of the floor in a big room on its own.
Wow, and they were big in them days, weren't they?
Oh yeah. And they were big in megabytes too.
Yeah.
4 megabytes. It was the memory.
At school, when I was in 1985, I was in my, we called them years in them days. I don't know what year it is equivalent, but 4th year senior school. I had 1 year left at school, basically. And we used to use these computers. They were called BBC microcomputers.
Yeah.
They were the computers we had at school when we were doing IT, even back in them days. And I think they were like 64-bit or something ridiculous.
Yeah,
really small, really small.
Yep.
I got a good story, and I can add on to that.
Okay, go ahead.
I was born in South America, Venezuela. My dad was vice president of IBM back in it was 79, 78. And one day he says, son, I'm going to take you to the basement down in IBM, and we're going to go and see the mainframes. So he takes me to this big mainframe with all these big, units, air conditioned to the max. And he goes, come on, I'm going to show you something. And he takes me towards this terminal with the mainframe and 2 guys from IBM playing asteroids.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. But I was a kid. I was like,
the best job in the world.
I need to do this. This is my future.
And that was my introduction to computers. In the beginning, I said, "Wow, there's potential here for something."
IBM. Actually, I think it was actually IBM that made those BBC microcomputers, if I remember right. But anyway, a good time, I think. I mean, if you think about it, how much we've moved on, and what I loved about all the publicity they've done on Facebook. If you've seen it's going viral at the moment, this Back to the Future Day thing.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
And there's some really great videos on there about, back then, 85 to now. And actually, all the things that we saw on, let's say, I mean, I was a big Star Trek The Next Generation fan. And if you think about it, a lot of what you saw in Star Trek The Next Generation on Captain Picard's Starship Enterprise, the technology they used on that is a reality today, much of it, even down to the replicator, because we now have 3D printers.
That's true. We're waiting still for the time warp, what do you call it? The beam me up time warp thing. I think Blab's working on that.
Absolutely. But, I mean, a lot of what you see there, so even the tricorders, the communications devices where they would see and they'd be up on the screen, and, that's a reality right now. FaceTime, Skype,
No, it's amazing. It's amazing, yeah.
Adelaide,
I have my mom. I constantly FaceTime with my mom. I mean, she's one of the reasons she bought an iPad was just for that.
Yeah, my mum too.
So,
my mum too.
Anyway, guys, I'm going to have to run because I got to catch a train in about half an hour.
Good to see you, Nassim, as always. Make sure you log in on Thursday for tomorrow evening for the Homeworkers Network, 7 p.m. GMT. Okay, fella. All the best. Bye. Anyone else want to jump in a seat? Come and take a seat. I don't know if Phil is available, but if you are, come in, jump in, just say a quick hi. But what a great day, Back to the Future Day. Nazim was mentioning then about dial-up modems, which is not actually that long ago if you think about it. Here's Phil Croshaw coming in the house. Hey, Phil, how are you, sir?
Hello, I'm good. Sorry about the terrible camera. I'm on this laptop and at the moment, as you can see, I'm on a bit of a deadline and the camera's rubbish.
No worries, mate. So Phil, for those who doesn't know, is one of the co-founders of the Homeworkers Network. I did one of these yesterday, Phil. Don't know if you noticed, but it's the first, wasn't on the record when I did that, so I didn't have a recording of it. But I just thought I'd do these sort of lunchtime networking things on Blab, just as a way to promote the Homeworkers Network, really.
I think it's a great idea, mate, to be honest. I think we always talked about, didn't we, like the extra factor and all those kind of concepts, and I think this is probably it, really, is you've got the show and then you've got the Big Brother bit on the side equivalent.
That's it.
A bit of that stuff. I think it's a great idea. So you can just tap in, just bob in, have a chat to a few people. Hi, Dan, love the ties.
Oh,
a bit
thanks,
under
Phil.
dressed now, of course. But
Do you know what the tie thing's all about, Phil?
yeah, I was listening, mate. I'm typing away here on a project, but I listened to it. Great, and I'd forgotten that myself, to be honest.
Yeah, and we've got Maury here, who's in Australia right now.
Hello, Maury.
So Dan and I are literally 2 or 3 miles apart. Phil's in Manchester, where I originally come from.
Yeah.
Maury's literally on the other side of the world in Australia, which again is another testament to the amazing technology we have available to us now. And some of the stuff that was shown in Back to the Future is now a reality. Even the hoverboard.
Oh, definitely. There's a whole
Even
list
the
out there.
hoverboard. There's the first hoverboard I saw on Facebook a day or two ago. Someone put on there, and it's actually a drone with propellers, and there's a guy actually stood on it flying. Incredible.
They put out a whole list this morning of things that were mentioned in the films and the ones that have become reality now. Even down to little things like you'd be able to pay with your phone. Which obviously is now a reality. The same as the camera phones where you can see who you're talking to. So many of the things are actually real now.
There was one that I saw on one of the videos that said, "Oh, haven't quite cracked that yet." I can't remember which one it was now. Did you see that?
Yeah. There was.
What was it?
There was one about the flying cars. I think
flying cars.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know whether that is a reality. There's probably some secret bunker with DARPA that are probably They've probably got one in development somewhere.
Definitely.
In Area 51. Fantastic. But really is mind-boggling what is now available to us. Have you got to go, Phil?
No, I was just going to say there's been loads of things in Facebook today. It's kind of just captured the imagination, isn't it? And I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but I saw somebody's produced like a cartoon of the reality of 2015, including Marty McFly and the Doc and everything. Just saying, like, it's just so funny. Talking about the hoverboard, and it's saying we've not got hoverboards, we've got these, those things with the little wheels on that you can now stand on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it shows that, and it shows him traveling on it about 1 mile an hour. It's just very, very clever. Some really creative stuff coming out.
I'm just having a look now to see if I can find. I'll put in. Let me put a link in the comments there for the hoverboard, which is available on the market right now. In fact, I saw one.
Like you've got shares in it.
I saw one the other day. There's one there, but there's also this drone hoverboard. Let me see if I can find that drone.
Yeah, I saw the drone hoverboard. That was amazing. I wasn't sure if it was.
This thing is awesome. It's
I wasn't sure if it was real.
Field electric scooter. Think of it like a mini Segway, but
who's playing that?
That was me.
Getting one. Maury wants one.
I got to mute my mic. I got about a dozen windows open here now, and that one of Paul just put up, I clicked on that and it started off. One of those ones that starts straight away, so I wasn't ready for that.
Now I want to ask you, Phil, have you still got a fax machine?
Leave me alone.
What's one of them?
I can show you.
I've got one at work.
No, I haven't.
One at work. It's in the storeroom.
No, I absolutely haven't. Amazed that people still use them.
It is amazing. I mean, it's
I'm involved in a government scheme which involves them paying part of my consultancy fees, which is great, to clients.
Now we know where our tax money goes down.
You absolutely know that's one of them. But the reason I mention it is
keeps Phil Crowshaw to a life that he's become accustomed to.
Exactly.
Yeah, you keep working, guys, paying your taxes, and leave it to me.
That's it.
Trust me, I'm a professional.
Yeah, go on. You were saying.
The only reason I mention it is that they're just so archaic. You've got to get a signature from the client, and you're not allowed to fax it, copy it, email it. It has to be posted.
Flipping dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Make me sick.
Unbelievable.
They make me sick, these dinosaurs.
Yep, I had one of them last week. Had to be signed by the director in town. We're in the suburbs, and we had to have someone either post it in or take it in. So one of the young teachers where I worked actually had to jump in the car and take it into the director, get it signed, bring it back out, have the principal sign it, and the deputy sign it. The deputy was on sick leave, so they had to go out to his place. Oh, what a mess. All because it had to be original signatures on that original document.
Oh, that's rubbish, isn't it? I mean, we, Dan and I are both politicians at local level. We represent the community at the local council. And the borough council that we represent is much better than it was when Dan's only just got elected in May for the first time. I was re-elected in May for a second term. So I've been serving already for 4 years. And when I joined the council in 2011, we had a council full of dinosaurs, literally full of dinosaurs. And I've dragged them all kicking and screaming into the 21st century. And it's much better now, I've got to say. I mean, we did our first blab last night, e-surgery blab, which went really, really well. And quite a few of who I would say were dinosaurs, or certainly Edward Hawkins, who took part. He was one of those that I would have said was a dinosaur back in 2011. And had a very strange attitude towards social media, along with a lot of the others. But he's completely come round to it, hasn't he, Dan? And
definitely.
I thought he was the star of the show last night. Actually,
yeah, it was fantastic.
He did really well. But the county council is literally like the Natural History Museum.
Hey, that's why I've kept hold of my fax machine. You never know.
So, I mean, honestly, it's if you go into the council chamber at County Hall in Kingston in Surrey, I've never been in there. In fact, I'm going to an event there shortly, and I expect to see. You know, when you go in the Natural History Museum, you have that massive dinosaur skeleton right in the middle. What's it called with the big neck? What's it called? That dinosaur? Brontosaurus. I expect to see that in the middle of the council chamber.
You know what, Paul? I can probably beat that possibly beat that, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Once I went to a council meeting. Won't tell you with why, but I went there in Boston, in Lincolnshire, and I swear to the Lord above, I was like, "What the." I could not believe. You don't get me speechless very often, as you probably worked out by now. And I could not believe what was unfolding in front of my eyes.
Was it a planning committee by any chance?
It was. I think there was a part of it was planning. Yeah, it was the land. In fact, I called it the land that time forgot, and I referred to it that. But you know, if I'm honest, it scared me a little bit. Because
a lot of councils are like that.
These are the people that are in charge, and they had. Oh, sorry, I don't want to hog it, but they had about something like 5 million quid they'd been given by government to spend on regeneration, and I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. They didn't have a clue what they were doing.
No, I'm not in the least bit surprised. Thankfully, Dan and I belong to a council which understands it. Not fully, but they're willing to learn. That's the main thing. They're willing to listen and embrace it. And that's what they've done. I mean, we went paperless for the first time in May this year. Every councillor was issued with an iPad, and all our committee papers, which, were sent to us, used to be sent to us in these Ziploc bags. They could be that thick sometimes, full of paper, minutes, agendas, constituents, letters, all that sort of stuff. Now, we have an app called mod.gov where all the papers are on there and we can access them via our iPads. It will save an absolute fortune.
Great to hear that.
Yeah. So that's another example of going back to the future, really. Everything is on our iPads now.
Yeah. Do you think you're ahead of the game in that context? Or do you
I wouldn't say we're ahead of the game. There probably are some councils that are comparable and maybe even ahead of us. But the thing, what's interesting is that we've got quite a few councillors now at the council. Before it was just me and maybe one or two others, who were sort of, let's say, technically aware. But now we've got a few more, Dan being one of them. So they're going to have to move it forward, and they are. To be fair, it's not as if they're not. They are trying. We've got a digital services working group that Dan and I both belong to. To really sort of embrace the future, really, which is great.
Good to hear.
Yeah, it's really good. There's going to be lots of exciting things coming in the future, I'm sure. Where you are, Maury, in Australia, are you in a remote part?
No, I'm in the capital city of Queensland, which is the northeastern state.
Okay.
I'm in the education area, and they've gone from what the students had. There was two classes 6 years ago. There was two classes of students with laptops. That's around about 40 kids in the school of about 1,500 had laptops. Today we have 2,000 students in the school, and we have around about 1,600 laptops. That's how far we've come. We've come really wide up.
Yeah.
We had the fact that we had a good run with one of the Prime Minister was pushing laptops for every student. Not every student ended up with a laptop, naturally. It was one of those failed ideas. But our school took it on board. We now have laptops in trolleys in about between 80% of the classrooms now have laptops.
Are you a teacher, Maury?
No, I'm part of the tech world.
Okay.
Technician and a reprographics officer, and I work in admin as well.
Wow. So, okay. Interesting.
So I used to be a teacher. Years ago, I was a TAFE teacher, or technical.
Right. Well, at one of the local schools where we are, every kid is issued an iPad, not an iPad, a laptop.
Yeah.
Every single kid, all the homework is done on it, so it's all electronically marked and all the rest of it. And it's, kind of makes sense, really, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Well, as I said, we have so many laptops, but in the classrooms, but about 20% actually loan out a laptop from the school and take them home. Right. All the homeworks is presented on the more or less digital. It's all digital. The only stuff that actually is printed is handouts from the old school teachers, teachers that don't want to come up into the modern world properly. We've got a hell of a lot of them. Even the new recruit teachers and trainee teachers that we get in, a lot of them use paper where they don't need to.
I think that's a bit of a backwards attitude. If you think about it, it's an institution where you're encouraging people to learn, yet these people refuse to even attempt to. And I think that's unforgivable, really.
Yeah, well, they're basically pushing as much as possible. Exams have to be, at the moment, on paper for certain exams. About 20% are actually digital at the moment, digital exams.
Wow.
Specialised maths exams, science exams, those sort of things have to be on paper.
Fair enough. I mean, you're not going to completely do away with it, are you?
No,
not yet.
No, but then they scan the exam, so it becomes digital anyway. But it's after the students' handwritings on them, all those sort of things. Yeah. So basically, it's heading towards digital. English exam, a lot of that is digital, except for the higher grades, year 12, so the 15 to 16-year-olds. They're all paper-based, basically because they got to go off to the education department. The exams are sent off to the education department and then sent back to the school after they've done the exam.
Right.
So they're marked in town.
Interesting. I mean, I suppose it does make sense that they do all the homework on these devices, because then I suppose the teachers, I don't know if this, I've never really seen it. If my daughter goes to this school, then I will. But I would imagine they'll be able to see how long they've spent on their homework as well, and gives them those.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. My youngest is at the school you're talking about, Tomlinscote, and he has the laptop issued to him there. And when he comes to me, I can see exactly, the teachers can see exactly how long he spent on it. So, because he uploads it to a central server that the teacher then sees, and then he has to play a maths game. And it's very similar to a Blab thing, except he plays maths games with people from all over the world. So it's almost like a game where he has to take over territories by winning the maths games, and he has to spend so much time on that as well, so she can see that he's actually spending the time and who he's been playing against, which countries, etc.
Yeah,
so it's a very good idea. I think.
I don't think it'll be long before they'll have technology like this where they'll be able to even speak to a teacher if they need any help.
We have that within the school.
You already have it, Maury?
Yeah, we have that. Basically, the teacher when they go log into their laptops, the teacher logs onto a certain program which is on the schools, and the teacher can actually see what the students are seeing on their screens, what they're doing. Basically, almost every keystroke.
Wow.
They can see.
Wow.
They can't see the left. like Big Brother, yeah. But we have that. We've had that. No, that's been in the school for about 5 years.
Wow.
That program. We've had it on all the old laptops as well as the new ones. There's an updated version was just installed. And of course, what happens with installation is we just push it out from the tech area. We don't even bring the laptops into the thing. As soon as they log onto the server, the updated programs are pushed straight into the laptops. We only have what is it, 7, 10? It's 10 now, yeah. iPads in the school.
Yeah, they'll probably all be on tablets before long because they are getting better, aren't they?
We do have the Microsoft Surface, which is a laptop / tablet.
Yeah.
We have probably about 500 of those floating around the school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we have a lot of those things.
It's interesting. We're in the future right now, aren't we, gentlemen?
That's
We're
right.
in the future right now. It's what I love about this Back to the Future Day. Such a great idea. Are they releasing a new film or something? Is that what this is?
No, all it was on the, during the film when they said, "Oh, where are you going to in the future?"
Oh,
and it was like
today.
this LED display. It was the 21st of October 2015. So that's when he arrived in the future.
Oh wow! I'm going to watch it tonight. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I think I am as well.
The night too, but I'm taping it. It's 9:56 p.m. here now.
Must be. I would imagine it's on Netflix, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, well, I don't have.
I would have thought so. I think
that's going to be my daughter's homework tonight to watch Back to the Future 2 with me.
Yeah, watch it on your iPad.
Yeah. Fantastic. I don't know. Who have we got in the house? Let's have a look here. Omer. If you want to take a seat. Yeah, I'm going
to shoot off, guys.
I'm going to finish this off now, I think. It's been a really, really good blab. Really nice to meet you, Maury. Thank you for jumping on from Australia. That's really good. Thank you, Dan, as well. And Phil, thanks for taking the time to pop in and show your face. It's great. Thank you very much.
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks, Paul. Right. See you guys.
Cheers.